Now, here's your hosts, the League Dad, Kevin, Mitchell, and Alistair.
What's up, gamers, and welcome to another episode of the All In Podcast. I'm just so happy that you guys could join us, and as always, I've got my wonderful friends here, people who like talking League with me, because believe it or not, I don't have, as a 38-year-old guy, yeah, I am saying that as how old I am. Don't worry, I am a boomer, but I don't have a lot of people to talk about League with, so thanks, guys, for being here again and talking to an old man, with League. I mean, you guys don't have that problem, right? You have friends. I have no friends, so you guys are my friends. No.
What are friends?
What are friends?
I don't know what friends are.
Yeah, I mean, when I get hype watching the games, I'm just like, man, I can't wait till the podcast so I can talk about all the action that happened. But this was the final week of the LCS, spring split regular season. What'd you guys think? Any surprises? Anything you were excited about or caught your attention during this last weekend?
No, honestly, not at all. It was a very, very expected week. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. CLG went 0-3, and they didn't win a single game. Oh, wait, guys!
Oh, wait a minute!
What happens? They beat C9, and they beat another team, Team Liquid, right?
CLG went 1-2.
1-2?
Yeah,
they beat Team Liquid last week.
They beat Team Liquid
last week, but it was the last game.
I'm just thinking of both like TL and C9. They beat them, and then they lose to Golden Guardians, and you're just like, what, guys?
So here's a question though: if CLG beat C9,
yes,
and then they lost to GG, what does that say?
What is that? Best team in the league.
Yeah,
Golden Guardians,
best
best team
top
in the
laner
league. Niles is
Niles
best.
is.
Whoa, man! This show just got off to a spicy start.
I was trying to think of my MVP person before this podcast, and I just figured it out. It's Niles.
Yeah,
Niles
it's very
MVP.
clear.
Dang,
Golden
man.
Guardians is going to win Worlds.
Ooh,
if they have 1 million fans, I'm one of them. Okay.
Dude, we're just getting all the hot takes right off the bat. I mean, I like it. I like the spiciness. I just don't think if you saw Double Lift's co-stream, man, him and Mitos were just ragging on Niles the whole time. I felt super bad. But they were praising Stixay. But that team, yeah, I gotta give them a break. All green players. I mean, that was what we expected. But what'd you guys think of the games, Kevin, Alistair?
I'm a big fan of what happened this week. I mean, Liquid went 3-0 against all the other playoff teams below them and seed, so it's big props for my boys. There's other things to be concerned about, but we went 3-0. That's what I care about, so it's a great weekend for me.
First time they went 3-0 this whole split.
First time, really surprisingly.
Yep.
Like if you look at their overall record, like good record and all, they got second, or no, they got third. But they not the best consistency. So hopefully Liquid's taking some momentum to playoffs. More importantly, though, I really like after all this it was said and done, like I really like the whole 15 games a week thing. I hope you keep it. I don't know if that's confirmed. Like, do we do 27 games in summer split, or is it still 18 games, 12 a week?
I think we do more.
Yeah, I think more.
I think we do more. I think it's 18 then 27. Yeah, I think
that would be great because I just love having 5 games a day days instead of like the old system, which was like 2 on Friday and then you're just done with LCS.
Yeah, it makes me feel much better about having just best of ones because I've been a big proponent of best of threes, but this is fine. I would rather like see series as opposed to best of ones because like we've seen anything can happen in a best of one, and sometimes that's not always indicative of like the team's overall skill, but hey, it is what it is. I'm not complaining too much. We got more games. So Alistair, were you happy with the ADCs this past week, or what were your thoughts on them?
I mean, it wasn't bad. The one I do want to talk about, the one game I want to talk about mainly was I had way too much fun watching IMT and C9.
Oh yeah.
I remember being there in the watch party watching it, and it was crazy watching Raze cash in with on Draven with over like 500 stacks. We were all It was great. It was a great time. You guys should have been there.
Yeah, I'm sorry I missed that, but I was watching and I was with you in spirit, man. The Draven and the Nocturne. I didn't think the Nocturne did as well, but it was a spicy pick, and I'm happy that we saw that.
They almost won the game.
Yeah,
they did. It was close.
It was kind of one of those, honestly. it was a good game, but a lot of the time there just wasn't a lot of fighting or going on or anything really happening. But again, like if you're IMT, what do you got to lose? I'm glad they picked out something else. So
some spiciness.
Good to see some Draven. All right, cool. Well, what about our beloved Dignitas? I mean, Mitchell, they're the team that you are most loving this split. Man, they almost went 0-3. They did have a really tough schedule with C9 and Team Liquid, and they almost lost to FlyQuest. My goodness, that hurt my predictions a lot, but thankfully they did what Dignitas does and came in the clutch against FlyQuest and luckily pulled out a win.
Yeah, this seems like kind of like a trend where Dignitas is like losing, and then they win. But against the top teams, they didn't manage to do it this weekend. They had a really hard schedule because that's how they did it against TSM in both of their wins, right?
Yeah.
They were basically losing against TSM the entire game, and then they pulled out a win. And that's how they did it against 100 Thieves that one time, and they like kind of fell short. And it's like, this is just Dignitas' sort of identity. They just get really close to almost losing, and then they clutch something out, and then they make it closer, and they win or lose at that sort of teeter-totter. I don't know. Just, best of ones. They'll be better in best of fives. Don't ignore the future part of this podcast where we talk about some sort of stupid, annoying, hot take.
Yeah.
Dignitas is just preparing for best of fives, where they have to, go for the long haul. Go for those long games.
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, I think that Dig actually played quite well in some of their games. Like they came back against Fly, that was impressive. Against Liquid, if you actually forego like the late game and or the mid game and how it ended, they had a pretty good game plan. That Skarner Lander combo, like against anyone that's not named Core JJ, they're gonna backbreak Team Liquid's bot lane there. But like Core just somehow gets a highlight reel montage out of it, and now, I mean, they kept escaping. Like on a bad day, Liquid gets like 4 of those picks probably result in deaths. At least some of them do, instead of none of them.
Yeah.
So I think Dick had the right game plan. I'm concerned in a best of 5 how many game plans you can really practice and like bring up before the other team just like overruns you. But if you get a comeback in the best of 5, though, you get so much momentum. So on the other hand, they could be a good best of 5 team. We don't know yet. Good team fighting teams that can stick it out under pressure tend to do well in best of 5s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I was noticing in those games too, it's no secret that Neo's been a really good ADC this split, but I was watching some of those team fights. Man, I was just watching him, and he's really good. I mean, I don't play ADC much, but I was just watching his positioning and the way he gets in there and can drive, get all that damage. And like, I felt like there were a couple of team fights where, had he not been aggressive when he needed to be aggressive and kind of put himself in slightly, dangerous positions, but they were well timed, after all the cooldowns were used, and he was able to get damage in. I felt like some of those fights where could have been worse or they should have lost, I felt like he was able to pull some of those out. And, this is pretty typical for what they are, is that they're a team that doesn't usually get ahead. And they're either behind or maybe even in best case scenarios, but they do this all the time. That's why I said, like, in typical Dignitas fashion, even though the game against FlyQuest looked like it was over, you can't really count them out because they do things like this. I mean, I believe their inhibitor was down, right? I mean, it was like, could have been a game-ending push, and they fought it back, and that's how they ended up winning. So it's going to be interesting. Yeah.
Very interesting indeed.
Now, I will say, EG beat TSM. That was against my prediction. I thought TSM was going to win. But here's the thing about EG beating TSM. EG beat TSM, lost to TL, but TSM has gone 2-0 against TL. So, i.e., is EG the better team? Did you get all of that?
EG is like either the best team or the worst team.
Oh my gosh. Coin flip. I mean, they are the epitome of NA in my opinion.
I agree with you, Mitchell, but I would apply that more to CLG.
CLG.
We already said why, but I mean, they beat Cloud9 and then lost to Golden Guardians the next day.
I mean, EG does the same thing, man. I don't know. They're the same team. They both have G in their name. I don't understand EG or CLG. I feel like EG, though, like, they have the players that you would expect them to be a top team, especially when they play against top teams. CLG, they have a bit more of like the secondary roles, like, you have You have Wild Turtle, you have Pobelter. These are kind of like the secondary guys, right? Not your hard carries. But EG, you have like some big names on there, like Svenskeren, Impact, Ignar. These guys like are supposed to be like mainstays of other rosters, yet they look so flip floppy. They look so bad against some teams and so good against other teams. Like they're one of the teams that take games off of C9 too earlier in the split. So I don't know what to make of them.
What my take on EG is like they're inconsistent. Sure, we put like a lot of scrutiny on Jizuke and Svenskeren and all that, but like I honestly think that definitely is kind of holding them back in some of these games that they lose. He's extremely consistent when they're winning because like if there's not that much pressure on him, he's pretty good at dealing DPS. But I remember just watching this last weekend, which was it was really poignant to me that every time the pressure got on, like he was not putting out damage. He was on carries that he needed to be like weaving in and out with, and it felt like he would like throw 2 autos and just run away, or like 2 autos and get caught. And it was really disappointing to watch. And looking it back, it just doesn't feel like he's at the caliber that they need. Like if they had Neo on their team or FBI, I'm pretty sure EG becomes consistent. It's just like when you have Reckless on your team as Fnatic. Yeah, you look like you're wildly inconsistent, but you still have a great win record because he's always there as your insurance plan. Definitely is not an insurance plan ADC, I feel like. He's more of a, if everyone else is like doing well, like he's going to do well. And if he's not being pressured, he's going to do well.
Oh. Yeah, I think you mentioned the word, Kevin, and I think it's consistency, right? Because if they're inconsistent at anything, it's that the fact they are a coin flip team, because it is very hard to really understand which EG is going to show up. Like it is so hard because they could lose to, the worst teams and then beat the best teams on their good days. Because like you said, they have the roster to do it. And if they are on, then yeah, they seem like a pretty difficult team to beat. There are a lot of wild cards here, and obviously Jizuke gets most of that because he does do a lot of questionable things. Even the way he plays, it's obvious one thing the casters keep pointing out is he builds for lane. He'll get components to just keep him healthy in lane where he can just shove, kind of make plays elsewhere. This guy wants to fight, wants to make plays everywhere, anywhere, at all the time, and that's what he's trying to do. They even did a lane swap against who was it? Was it against TL?
TL.
Yeah, it was TL where he went top. I mean, it's interesting, but it didn't end up working. Actually, it worked out okay, but they didn't win the game. But they're always trying some weird stuff, so it's really hard for me to predict them. And I think what you said kind of makes sense, Kevin. If they had some kind of consistency in the bot lane where you're just like, okay, he's going to scale, he's going to do damage, and we can rely on him even if we kind of make these coin flip plays early on, we have some kind of insurance plan. So I think you hit that right on the head.
So I want to take another stab at this sort of angle that EG's inconsistent and stuff like that. What if, and I don't think it's true, but what if EG was actually very consistent and it's just all the other teams are inconsistent? So that EG's putting up the same level of play, but since other teams are so inconsistent, we see such wild different results, right? Okay, they beat TSM because TSM's trolling, not because EG's just playing better, right? Oh, they lost to some bottom tier team like CLG, right? But it's actually because CLG's playing way better, you know? So there's a thought there. Maybe EG is actually.
Do you really believe that, or are you just throwing that?
No,
out there?
I don't.
Okay,
it's just interesting.
Yeah, it's
right?
an interesting thought. I mean, I was
like.
My initial thought is
teams,
no, but you could be. I haven't looked at I haven't watched their games, but I don't know. Maybe it's that A.
All the teams are incredibly inconsistent, in my opinion. So, like the fact that we're pointing out that CLG and EG can have these wildly different, various results and stuff. I do think it's like not even just about those two teams. I do think it's about the top teams, C9, TL, TSM, that are so incredibly inconsistent that. Yeah, sometimes they just get wrecked by these lower tier teams like, EG and CLG.
But see, I think so. I it's a good take. I'm not disagreeing with it, but what I would kind of maybe say is that, at least with like TSM, C9, like there are clear, for me at least, I when I observe them, I feel like there are clear weaknesses that they shore up, and they have been improving. TSM, it was clear their early game has been weak. They've been slowly improving that. TL, their mid to late game was pretty weak. They've been kind of getting better at that. And yes, they're still losing games here and there, but it feels like there's a trajectory. I feel like with EG, I can't point to a specific strength or weakness. It's just like, oh, they played super well this game, or they didn't what are they doing? They're inting. Like, it just didn't seem good. I mean, that's my observation. Do you have any thoughts on that, or what do you think? No, yay, yay, nay.
Kind of maybe. I feel like EG don't exactly have a game plan. They do. Their more game plan is just like fight.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah,
time.
that's what I mean.
So
yeah, fight.
They just coin flip. If they win fights, they lose fights. They
Yeah.
win or lose games.
Right.
So yeah, I think I agree with you for the most part. Yeah.
Okay. Alistair, you got any thoughts there? I don't want to leave you
Yeah,
out
what's
of
your
this.
thoughts on Deathly?
Yeah.
Definitely. I kind of agree with you. I would compare him to 2020's Ven. I mean,
that good or bad?
Exactly,
You got to give us. Okay.
I mean, you guys were describing it. If his team's winning, he looks really good, but you're not going to rely on him to carry. That was Ven last year.
Mm.
To be fair, Ven's doing a lot better this year. I think I don't think he's bad, and I feel like he does kind of get a lot of flack where he doesn't deserve it, but I wouldn't. I don't know. He's middling. I don't think he's amazing, but I don't think he's like terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's also hard to tell because like the 80 carries in LCS the role is just stacked. I mean, we said it last week. It's our best role as North America. 80 carries are our best players.
But realistically, you can't call him middling then, because
I guess that's true. But like it's hard to tell.
He's not a bad player, but
worst.
relative to good ADCs in NA, like I don't think he's better than Neo, FBI. Like I could just list it on. I can't. Yeah. I can list very few people who are worse. Like
that's true, but I don't know. I feel like 1 week he'll be top 3, next week he'll be bottom 3. Like that's kind of why I said middling, though it's not really the best word I could have used.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I think of the ADCs in our league, it's hard for me to really pinpoint and say this is the worst ADC because Stixay is probably down there because he's on Golden Guardians, but he's on Golden Guardians and actually plays pretty well, right?
Yeah.
Wall Turtle is down there, but he's actually playing really, really well on a terrible team.
Yep.
Right? You look at all these bottom tier teams, and it's like when you actually go through them, it's like I don't actually know which ADC is the worst. And I come up and I think of the top teams, and I look at Sven and Tactical, and I'm like, these guys feel worse, even though they're on way better teams.
Especially Tactical lately. Yep.
Especially Tactical.
Yes,
so.
Sir. Yes, sir.
That's a really interesting talking point. What about Raze?
I like Raze. He's okay. He's not bad. He's a little
Would he be
flippy.
considered the worst? No.
He could be down there. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think he's considered the best.
Yeah, definitely.
I honestly feel like I don't know, Neo and like Wild Turtle are like maybe just the best ones. Like even though it's weird to say, like FBI is still up there for me too, right? Lost is getting up there for me. It's really hard to say.
Yeah, I think you guys are all right. You put any of those names on there, and it's kind of difficult to like. Say with 100% certainty, they're definitely the worst. Or
for me, it's like Neo's number 1, and then you can like make an argument for pretty much every 80 carry below that for the most part.
Oh, okay. So what you're saying is there's a big fat soup. Bringing back the 2020. Bringing back the
again. Oh boy.
Bringing back the soup. I'm just kidding. Let's not do that. But I get what you're saying.
I like soup.
Yeah. Well, hey, Kevin, let's go to your team, Team Liquid. Let's talk about them because you've been having a hard time. They've been we've been giving it to you because they've been losing some games. But hey, look, man, they went 3-0 for the first time. Better late than never. Final week, they go 3-0.
Wait, this is the first time?
This is the first time all split. So
there's only been 6 weeks, and not that many teams go 3-0. Okay, that's all I'm saying. I'm making a lot of excuses. I'm panicking as a TL fan.
There you go. So, what do you think, man? Let me start with you because that's your team. Let me go ahead and let you shower them with praises for this past weekend.
Sure. So I'm gonna say that I think Liquid has been trying a lot of stuff. Everyone knows very clearly that they're trying stuff. Not knows, but can tell that they're trying stuff. It might not be working. It might be really dumb, but this is definitely the team that probably has the most variation in terms of team comps they're trying to run, playstyles they're trying to run. We saw Senna in bot lane. That got shelved immediately because that was awful. I think this team realistically probably could have tied for first, which is only one more win if they just didn't experiment and played safely, played exactly what they knew. They still probably would have inted. Tactical would have probably inted. But this does bring me to a cool take I saw. I'm not going to get too far into it, but one of the takes I saw was basically saying that the way that it was on the Liquid subreddit because where the crazy people are there, Liquid fans.
Yeah.
And it said the way that Tactical plays right now is encouraged or even suggested by the coaching staff. Because he was saying, essentially, the coaching staff is pretty smart. It's been proven to be smart for a while in terms of its results. There's no way Tactical plays like this like for 6 weeks in a row without the coaching staff being like, hey, just play safe. Just play back. Like, it seems like they're asking him to push his limits. Do I believe this? I want to believe it. Realistically speaking, I don't think he's learning that much. I could be proven wrong in playoffs. I could pop off. You know, you could see me in the Discord chat spamming liquid horses everywhere. But realistically, I think Tactical's just. I don't think he does well. He's not. I don't think he is doing well right now during COVID. Like, I think it's been almost a year of this, and like, yeah, he was fine in last split. Like, he was quite good last year, but this year it just looks like his reaction times are all dulled, and he's just not into it. Like, you don't learn anything by running as Tristana up and just getting caught 14 times in a row. You just learn that was a bad idea again. I'll end it off by saying I think the coaching staff was like, okay, we learned your limits. Play Xayah, build Gale Force. Like the other team got Tristana, they didn't ban it. They just picked the safest thing possible. And he did die once or twice, but like he did his job. He baited the team. Just as much as he got caught. So
baited the team. That's what I like to do.
Notice how I didn't say which team, okay?
He didn't say which team. Yeah.
So I will say with that take that G2, they have a mentality where, especially during the regular season, it's very low stress, very like we don't care about getting every single win or playing every game correctly. Because they don't want to run into burnout. They're just like, play to have fun, right? And it's very clear that when you watch G2 games, like, oh, we all know they could play this game so much cleaner. They're just kind of messing around, right? And but still win, of course. And I wonder if maybe TL's trying to do that. Like, that's the only angle I could see where I agree with that take. Because the other 4 members don't look like they're messing around, right?
No.
Like, Santorin and Alphari very clearly like, I want to freaking win, guys. And Tactical's over here like, let me dive this guy. Let me just go for a tower dive real quick. Oh, I'm dead. Guys?
Oh my gosh.
I'm wondering
So-
also. Go ahead. What are you saying? No, go ahead.
That game 2 this weekend where he was on Tristana, he dived the Xayah and just died. And like, it wasn't even remotely
talk
close
about
as a
that.
dive.
we don't
don't talk about that.
Bro, I remember watching that over like 3 or 4 times. Like, what is he thinking? He's diving inhib tower, cleanses nothing, flashes for no reason, ults him away, or ults
The
Xayah
flash
away
was to
after
dodge
using
the feathers.
one
The
auto
flash was to
attack.
dodge the feathers, but he was already in melee range, that was the part where I was like, why are you here?
No, he like flashed behind when there's no way he gets the kill anyways. I was like watching.
Lord.
He messes up his W. I was.
Well,
bummed.
that's what I wanted to say though. Do you think it's him or do you think it's just Tristana? Him on Tristana? Because his Tristana looks terrible bad. I mean, he just
It's really bad.
I
will
can
say,
remember all the plays of him dying on Tristana, just replaying over and over in my head.
as a Tristana player, it gets that way sometimes.
Okay.
It's like syndrome, bro.
Okay.
It happens.
I
To
don't
be
think
Malphite
fair,
meme
a
was
lot
so
easier
to
funny.
refrain
Oh
from
my god.
In solo queue and stuff, you can refrain from it, but in normals and your limit testing, I can.
Well,
I can
are you referring to like Tristanas who like jump in like 1v5 and not mean to or something? Because I'm referring I'm actually referring to him. I think he doesn't time his W's properly to be defensive. I think he gets he just doesn't buffer them correctly.
He definitely messes that up.
Yeah.
What I mean is like when you have the Tristana on her team who thinks she has a pick in a 1v1 and then
okay.
pop out of a bush. That's what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. That's kind of what
She's
I mean.
probably
That
like,
happens a lot.
he's probably like, I can escape. I got my W. Psych. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
He
and
just-
then there's a Cho'Gath in the bush or something.
I
like
gotcha.
That. You get
Yeah,
one shot. Like, that's kind of what I mean.
Yeah.
I'm not excusing him.
Well, look, if
Getting caught in the
that's
jungle, not cleansing syndrome.
if that's the worst of TL's worries, I say they're in good shape because I do still think Tactical's good. Just put him on a different champ. Maybe he'll snap back into it because, like you said, Alphari, Santorin, Core JJ, they're all still playing themselves. Jensen is,
Played a lot
but
better this week.
sure,
They're quite well.
he's doing all right. I don't want to say he's doing bad, but I mean, like the other three are just so standout that it's like, the fact that tactical is their weakest link right now, I think that's a really good sign. And so I would be worried for any team, TSM, that has to face them coming up, because I'm pretty worried about them. So, all right, let's move on to 100 Thieves, because Ryoma being subbed in for Damonte was this hot take, last week. And then, Papa Smithy basically put out a video because 100 Thieves fans were pissed for whatever reason at Ryoma, when really Ryoma didn't have anything to do with their losses the previous week. We talked about that we thought it was more of a team problem. But Papa Smithy said that the coaches, everybody did their due diligence and researching, and they felt that the best decision moving forward was to have Ryoma in. And so, of course, people were reacting to that as well. So now that we've seen another week of play with 100 Thieves and them doing better, what do you guys now think about Ryoma? And I'll caveat this by saying they did have a pretty easy schedule, but go ahead.
Yeah, Ryoma is not the problem with this team. I think it's very, very clear right now that when you look at that Team Liquid game, yeah, Ryoma's not the issue, man. It's their freaking top side. It's like Someday just did not respect ganks at all and just got ganked and died over and over again. And then Closer on Olaf is like, if you're not ahead on this Olaf, he's just a walking bag of money. I think it's like a lot of their draft and just like a lot of I don't know, man. I hate to say it. I've been saying it for a while and I've been saying it all split, but it feels like Someday is kind of the issue for me. Someday feels like an issue right now for me. And Closer is like not doing what he needs to do either. Yeah. It feels like it's their top side, and in a very side lane heavy meta where top side is very important and bot lane is very important and mid lane's not so important, like having one of your side lanes just not be able to compete with Team Liquid's top side means like the game is just over.
Yeah,
very quickly. Like Realm is not the issue here, guys. Like he played fine.
Yeah.
I mean, people it's really hard to change people's mind on something. Ryoma had a really bad start last year, but he started picking it up. But people are still going to call him trash because of the first impressions.
Of course.
For example, he played well. Obviously, last week he didn't play as well, but for example, the other one, CLG, they ran it early, but they look really good right now for the most part. I don't know. It's people are gonna flame Ryoma because he's new, and I agree, he's not the issue.
Yeah, I would say, first of all, when you make a statement as a team, do all the coaches agree on this? And you just have to all publicly say you agree. This is the same thing. And Moral's like, we all believed in Ica. I'm like, your coach, your head coach,
yeah, sure,
whoever,
buddy.
Whoever it was Zabutin, I believe his name.
Yeah,
he agreed, and then everyone just put out the statement yeah, sure, man, whatever. Even after months and months of mediocrity. Ryoma's not the same story, but I just want to say that it doesn't mean much if the whole team agrees with a substitution, because that just means one or two key stakeholders said that.
Yeah.
But in this case, Ryoma's doing fine. I don't think the Liquid match is the fairest way to assess Someday, but I will say I have never seen a GP get a kill in lane that early. Well, not never. I very rarely see a GP get a kill early in lane. And sure, Santorin got a good gank off and they snowballed it, but it's GP pre-6 with no items. That character does almost nothing.
It's Gnar into Udyr, right? Just hop away and throw a boomerang and you shouldn't die. Just if you have good ward coverage, you should never die to an Udyr gank, especially if it's against a GP, right?
Yeah.
He's just running at you to CC you.
Yeah.
They had a very obvious game plan. They focused Team Liquid's bot lane. It was very clear they were doing it, but Liquid knew what they were doing. They just focused top.
Yeah.
And when your jungler is just literally double diving bot lane, first of all, the second dive was terrible. But you should know that you don't have any help, so you got to play safe. And Someday wasn't. So that's really concerning. They need him. If 100 Thieves is going to do anything to C9 next weekend or this weekend, Someday needs to show up. He cannot be the one going 0-3. He's important to that team.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, I will say that compared to last week when Ryoma first played, I took a look at his stats. So he was dead last in Golden XP at 10, compared to this week where he was third among mid laners. So his laning stats improved. He was also third in KDA, only behind Perks and Jensen. I know KDA is not everything, but it's an interesting stat. He's also second in kill participation and third in damage per minute. So his team stats even looked better as well. There's Megabyte. That's what we've been waiting for. That's the MVP right there. But and also as a team, you know, I will again caveat this by saying they had a pretty easy schedule besides Team Liquid. But we talked about 100 Thieves as a team not being able to really know how to play around objectives when they don't snowball a certain side, right? But their team stats look like they've been improving, and they're right around the middle of the pack with their early game rating and mid lane rating. And they're starting to get better at drag control and Baron control. In fact, they were first in drag control this week, second in overall first in first dragon control, second in overall drag control, second in Baron control. So they did much better compared to, you know, what they've been doing in the previous week. So looks like they're improving, and as a team, you know, it'll be interesting to see. Unfortunately, they have to go against C9 in the first round, so I don't know. They don't have much time to shore that up. So
I think they're doomed.
Yeah,
I agree.
I think they're doomed as well. But here's the final standings for, you know, when it's all said and done. Of course, first place was C9, second place TSM, third place Team Liquid, fourth place 100 Thieves, Dignitas in fifth, and then EG's in sixth. So that's the final standings. And so based off of that, that's how we get our playoff seedings, which we will talk about a little bit more as we get into predictions. But now it is time for Around the Web, and this is basically just to get more of a fan pulse of what's going around, basically Reddit and Twitter, because this is the fan pulse of the LCS. And so one thing I wanted to bring up to you guys, and I know you may have seen it, is that video that went really popular on Reddit and Twitter, which was the video of C9 and TSM in the 2016 finals, where there was a crowd. It was live, and it was the play where it was a team fight, and basically it was double lift on Lucian, just pulled out an amazing team fight win. Also, I think it was
Double lift's killing them all.
Yeah, it was just
game 5.
Yeah, it was game 5.
Game 4.
Game 4? Okay.
I thought it was game 5.
It was so hyped though, guys, and it gave me the feels of just like, man, the energy, seeing the crowd, but also like just hearing the commentators and hearing the crowd in the background. It made me realize how much I miss live games and how much more exciting it is when there is a crowd there. But I know that Kevin and Alistair were actually there in Toronto at that event. So what was
promoting
that like
the
for
podcast.
you guys? Yeah, promoting the podcast.
Didn't exist
Before
yet.
we weren't even there. Yeah, but what did you guys, how was that for y'all? Because you guys were there to experience it live.
It was crazy. It
yeah,
was,
for sure.
Yeah.
I was my first event, and I brought my friends. We all went, you know, stayed at a hotel, watched third, fourth place match, as well as the finals. And it was crazy. Like, I honestly, that event convinced me that esports is the future, or at least it has a very solid future along with traditional sports, because it's something else. Like, watching online is fun, really fun. You can, you know, shoot the shoot the gun with your friends and just talk and stuff like that.
The curse jar.
in person, it just, you hear the pop off. You actually can feel energy in the stadium. Like, people are just cheering. The room is shaking whenever a big play happens. It's surreal. Like, even games that might be kind of throwaway games, when you're watching online, like when you're in person, just every kill, every first blood, you just feel like it's kind of like a concert or a real sports game if you've been to one. It's just a different experience. So I think
I miss it.
Yeah, I miss it. Like, even just the studio audience, like, cheering when a cool play's happening, that's just gone. And we've been like that for a year. So I just, when I look back at like Worlds or something like that, old VODs, I'm like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I miss that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is that it made me realize, because I've been kind of getting used to these just remote games, that when I saw that, it brought back the memories and like, holy crap. And Doublelift even mentioned in his, you know, FAQ video, his retirement video, that one of the reasons he did retire was because they weren't playing live games, and that was one of the things that really got him fired up and motivated to play. And we mentioned that, and he likes the crowd, he likes the energy, and I can't say that I blame him, because that's a big part of it. I mean, I thought that was pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
What was I going to say too? Oh yeah, that's it. I think, you know, when it comes to live games again, we mentioned this way back when, when COVID first happened, that how would this affect brand new players when they come back, or if we come back to live games? Like, we have all these players who've kind of gotten used to playing remotely, or even making their breakthroughs remotely, right? But have never played in front of a live stage. It'll be interesting, I think, if and when it actually comes back, how these players will adjust, if anything at all. Maybe nothing happens, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
So my thought on that, just want to bring it to tactical, a specific player.
Yeah.
I really thought last year he played a lot of games that really mattered. Like in the 2020 summer playoffs and at Worlds, he played really, really well, and in a lot of games that mattered. And a lot of these games don't seem to matter because TL is still going into playoffs top 4 seed, right? I'm hoping that if we do get a crowd, we finally see debut tactical and he starts popping off, because he was like our first kind of NA Knight in Shining Armor. Like, this is our little prodigy that's coming up, and so
Yeah,
I hope he comes back and starts playing crazy well.
Agree. I think some of our like superstar AD carries that we're getting, like not superstar, but like really well performing, like Neo and stuff like that, I think they would have done worse if they were on stage. Like, there would have been a lot more jitters, like just even like your setup changing a little bit by having to go on stage and put your mouse and your peripherals on there. Like, that can affect a lot of players instead of just like playing where you're used to in an environment you're used to. So I think that like veterans like Perks would have shined more coming back, just being on stage, because like he lives for that. Like, if Double was there, he would live for that too. Like, there were a lot of players who looked worse offline or online because they didn't have that edge. Like, Impact is already stomping right now in online, to be fair, but he is like the god of in person.
Yeah.
Just like showing up when it on stage.
Yeah. Okay. Well, our next take is Jizuke in an interview said that he could play well into his 30s. So not even close to retiring, he says. That brings up this age-old question. Does age really matter? When it comes to pro play, what are your thoughts on that? Because I have some.
Snippety snappity. Faker, the man himself, said no, it doesn't matter. So I'm gonna go with no, it doesn't matter. I mean, to an extent, it'll matter, but not because of the usual, like, oh, your body can't handle it, your reflexes are going bad, or you don't have the mind for the game, you can't adapt. It's usually when people get older, it's because other parts of life become more important, and you put less priority on League. That would be the only reason why age would matter, and I think those are controllable. Like, otherwise, age does not matter. Those are like, I just don't think age matters.
I think I agree.
It definitely doesn't matter. I mean, Kobe was like 37 or something when he retired.
Yeah.
In his last game, and he was starting to lose some performance, but that's a very physical sport, right? Very contact based. And then you think about like Hiko and Valorant or other legends of CS:GO. Like, these guys are like 30 plus as well, and some of them are on the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
Fragging out at the highest level. Valorant is a lot more reaction time and mechanical based than League.
Yeah.
Like, and you should only be getting smarter with experience and being good under pressure as you get older. Like, I think it's just a question of motivations, work-life balance, and like, are you going to get married? Are you looking to like start a family? Like, stuff like that might demotivate some players. But I think the system just needs to be better in League. Like, your reaction time barely matters in League.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Not as much as these guys are making it out to be. If you can play a shooter at 31, I refuse to believe 25 is the time to think about retirement.
What about 38, guys? Do I still have a chance?
No, you're done.
Oh, dang.
Hey.
Do I have a chance to make gold? That's all I'm saying. I'm at silver 1 right on the line. Can I make it this season?
Look, if a 38-year-old can beat like Israel Adesanya in a fight,
yeah, that's true. Okay. That's true. He wasn't a higher weight class, though, to be fair. A higher natural weight class.
yeah, but it's still.
Yeah. Okay. Well, point taken. But here's something I want to ask you. Alistair, let me start with you, actually, because it actually has to do with ADCs. So I was watching, there was a pretty popular clip of conversation between Dyrus and I'm a Cutie Pie and someone else, but they were playing Apex. And they basically said, Cutie Pie specifically said that the pro scene is trash, especially for ADCs, and that if he dedicated all of his time and grinded League again, he says he could easily be pro again.
Wow.
Do you agree with that? Because we're talking about age, and we're talking about ADC, Because he says that basically NA players, he's like, everybody thinks Bjerg is a god and all these players are gods. He's like, they're not gods. They're good players, but not when you compare them to the rest of the world. And he thinks that with enough, if he really dedicated himself, he thinks he could get back to it. So I want to start with you, Alistair, because ADC, that's your position. What do you think?
I'll start off by saying I agree with him.
Okay.
Not for the reason that Cutie Pie was so amazing, or that it's not based off that. It's partially based off the fact that a lot of players don't dedicate all their time to it.
Yeah.
So if you have one person who does, they're just naturally going to be better. That's why Bjergsen was so good, because he dedicated a lot of time.
He did.
Fair, stopped playing solo queue, but that's how you get to be good. You got people like Faker. He has this mindset where he will go in depth as, oh, I lost this trade by 10 damage. How do I fix that so I win the trade by 10 damage? Kind of thing. It's that minor. You can't. If a lot of players aren't doing that, and you get one person who is. That's how you be. That's how you're better.
Work harder.
That matters.
Yeah, put in the time. Okay, what do you guys think?
Cutie's talent at his peak was at least probably top 3, top 4 before he started just looking to retire. And I think he could definitely be a pro team, at least in the middle or maybe bottom middle, depending on. The thing is, being able to put all that dedication and that hard work is also talent. Those players who are Bjergsen or Faker, who literally probably has no other major interest in any interview you ever hear him about, except for League. That is talent. Being able to be doggedly all in on something is talent. Yeah. I've definitely said to myself, if I put it all in, I could probably hit Masters or Grandmaster or whatever. But that in itself is hard.
Yeah.
You could have the mechanical skill, the brain for it, but put the time in, the dedication. I don't know if Cutie Pie would want to do that just because he just enjoys life so much more.
Yeah. He's not saying he would want to, but he says if he did, he feels like he could.
Yes. Yeah. And I agree. He could, if he did it, no doubt he could. Yeah. He has the talent for it.
Okay. All right.
Nah, he's washed. Can't do it.
I initially said no too, but I'm a boomer, so I'm rooting for him if he ever did it.
Nah. He's washed. If he tried to go all in and do it, I don't think he'd make it. I think maybe he could be a bottom tier ADC, right? But the ADCs are actually pretty good right now. I don't think he would make it onto a team.
That was my only reservation as well. Is just because, as I said, our AD carries are stacked.
Yeah.
But if he just puts more time in it than the rest of them, I think at some point he would be able to.
Okay, fair enough.
That's just
all right.
It is, I feel.
Okay, well, let's move on to our Discord take of the week. And this week, we are actually giving a $10 RP prize to the best take that we received this past week. So don't forget, guys, if you haven't joined the Discord, join it.
No way.
Yeah, we're giving
$10 RP?
I'm telling you, we are flowing in the money right now.
Holy cow,
making it freaking rain and some RP. So our winner is, drum roll, please. That's my drum roll. There it is. Okay, thank you. The winner is Crits. Crits with a really good take. I thought it was really interesting. Actually, Alistair picked this one out, and I think it was a good pick. But he says that Dignitas won't win a playoff series. He says that their players are good for best of ones, but not best of fives. So what do you guys think about this? Now, Dig did almost go 0-3, even though they had a really tough schedule. And, like we've mentioned, they aren't really good at keeping leads early or, having leads early, but they come in the clutch. So do you agree or disagree with our boy Crits?
I disagree. He does not deserve $10 of RP.
Dang.
He is an absolute monkey. There's no way that they're not going to win at least one. I mean, they're in the second round, right? They'll have time to study the team that comes down to meet them. They'll be meeting the team that is also worse, right? From the top 4. Yeah. So I think they're going to win a series. I mean, you guys know I am a Dignitas fan. I went to Dignitas a couple days, ordered a Dignitas double cheeseburger, hamburger, something, fries, and a shake. I think they're gonna win a playoff series. Yeah, I do think they're not great in being overly consistent, but they have a lot of practice in these really skirmishy, really long form games where they have to come back and have a good mental, right? These games they're winning is half of it having better mental than their opponents, right? Their games against TSM they won, for example.
Yeah.
So I think they can do it. I really do. I think they can take a look at what they lost. Like, losing in the last week sucks, but it also gives you like so much stuff to VOD review.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Right before playoffs, you get to VOD review all this stuff. I think it was just a new patch we played on too this weekend. Maybe that was last weekend. Whatever it is.
Last weekend.
Last weekend. So like, I have faith. They have a lot of experienced players and a lot of very hungry players. I'm all in. I think they can do it.
All right.
So no, this take sucks.
That was a very confident all in.
That was passionate.
So I would say that if it weren't for the way the brackets form, I don't think I would agree with Crits. But it looks like I think they're shaping up to play against 100 Thieves if 100 Thieves loses to C9. Because did Dig get 5th or 6th? 5th, right?
Dig got 5th. EG is 6th.
Yeah, EG is 6th. Yeah. So Dig should be playing against the loser of first force. I think is how it works. So if that's the case, I think they could be 100 Thieves in a best of 5. So I think they will win one series, but they're not going to win a series against anybody in the top 3.
Yeah,
it's not close. It's going to be unfortunate if they do play against C9. If C9 drops down, then Dig is doomed.
That would be crazy, but I don't think that'll happen.
I mean, if C9 drops down, that means they lost to 100 Thieves, which means C9 sucks. So
yeah, it does.
Yeah,
Dig
also just
still beat
G2 it.
Yeah.
They could G2 and just run the whole lower bracket just to slaughter everyone else. But I agree. I mean, I think C9. We haven't touched on this much because we were just talking about everyone else, but C9's been looking weak.
Yeah,
they have
looked a lot weaker than all the other top teams in the top 3.
We could definitely hit
the really early strength of schedule.
We can definitely hit that when we talk about predictions. But you're right. We haven't talked about C9, but we will for sure. Okay, Alistair, do you got thoughts on that? Dignitas.
I'm kind of with Kevin. I think there's a chance that TSM loses to Dig, assuming TSM loses to Liquid, right? So
they wouldn't be playing. Yeah, they wouldn't be playing. No, they.
Okay, I don't know.
So they wouldn't be playing.
Okay, TSM goes DG.
Yeah,
if they lose. All right, so I would say I'm fairly confident Dignitas can beat 100 Thieves. But I also agree that I wouldn't be super confident putting Dig against Cloud9, Liquid, or TSM.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe TSM due to history, but I don't know. I'm not super confident on it.
Well, hey, wouldn't it be awesome if Dignitas somehow got the attention of McDonald's? And you know how they have like the Travis Scott meal and all the different meals? What if Dignitas got their own meal? That'd be super sick.
Like a Dardock meal?
Yeah, I'd take a Dardock, please. Oh,
can
man.
I get one Dardock with the side of nuggets?
A Dardock is like everything on the menu because he's like, you know how he's like picking every jungler?
Oh, you call the jungler? Yeah, one of everything.
One of everything on the menu. That's a Dardock. Okay.
Can I get a one of everything? Oh, you mean a Dardock.
Oh, you mean a Dardock. That's called a Dardock. Yeah, for
sure. Someday, boys. Someday.
Oh, someday we will have it. Okay. Well,
but
hey.
not someday.
Not someday, but Crits, thanks for your take. Hit me up in Discord. We'll get you that awesome prize, making it rain with a $10 RP card. Again, if you guys are listening and not part of the Discord, join. You can find the invite link at theallinpodcast.info, and that takes you right to our Discord, and we will send out another form for you guys to submit your hot take for next week for your chance to win $10 in RP. All right.
Oh my God.
I know we're just so generous right here, guys. We're feeling generous. Now though, it's time for us to talk about our all pro teams because, regular season's done. So we went and did this and kind of went through and picked out our tops. And so I think it's time that we kind of discuss them and see, if we had any similarities or differences. And we can kind of talk about the differences since similarities means we all agree. But I think for top lane, I think we've all kind of agreed that Alfari is the all
not Niles?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I thought we all at the beginning of the podcast.
Oh, my bad. I totally forgot about Niles.
Right? Yeah, Niles, guys. Come on.
Hey, come on, man.
Though, someday we might be unironic.
Take it easy on our young player, man.
He's a collegiate. He's an A. Just a little.
You're the one that said we have to give them a chance.
Yeah, we gave him a chance.
Okay.
It's over. No more chance.
The worst thing that can happen to you is apathy, okay? So the fact that we're talking about him all the time
is fire under his belt. That's it.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So Alfari is pretty much, I don't think anybody really is going to disagree with that. Let's talk about jungle, though, because we did have some differences here. Kevin, you had Blabber. Mitchell, you had Dardoch. I had Blabber. Alistair had Dardoch. So it's between Blabber and Dardoch between us. I'll let you guys, you Dardoch vouchers, go first as to why. Why do you think Dardoch, in your opinion?
So, wait, did you ask Alistair or me?
Both of you guys who picked Dardoch as your all-pro.
We both picked Dardoch? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Alistair, high five. I don't know where you are, but nice.
Is that
okay.
Yeah.
I picked Dardoch because, I don't know, Blabber, he just ints. I don't know. I just don't like it. He ints a lot. I would have put Santorin, but he definitely plays like second to third fiddle on his team. Doesn't feel like the main driving force. Dardoch definitely feels like the main driving force of his team, and Dignitas would not be up there and taking close games against some of the best teams in the league if it weren't for Dardoch, in my opinion. His creative jungle picks, he's like, yo, I'll pick whenever you guys want me. I'll have a huge champion pool. I will play aggressively. I will play proactively no matter what I'm on. And I don't know, I'm a Dignitas fan also, so it's just kind of natural.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
Fair.
Yep.
Okay. Alistair, what about you?
Yeah.
My reasoning was, I feel like it's easy to give it to Blabber because he's on arguably the best team, but I give it to Dardoch just because I feel like essentially what Mitchell said is Dig is not as good if they don't have Dardoch. And I know we give all this praise to Neo, and don't get me wrong, he deserves it, but take Dardoch away from Dig, and I honestly don't know that they are where they are right now. He's single-handedly making plays. I mean, look their first game against TSM. They won that game off Dardoch.
Yep.
I
won a lot of
just,
games off Dardoch. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like if you're taking away one person, I like from any team, I would say taking away Dardoch from Dig would be the biggest issue. That's why I just think he's more important.
Interesting. I mean, on that note, I feel like Blabber is literally the same argument.
Yeah.
Right?
I get that.
I feel the same thing.
You take Blabber away, what do they have?
Like
Sven is not
Vulcan?
a superstar. Perks is not a superstar right now. But you can't just use Vulcan to carry Sven. Okay, a team of Zen right now, Perks right now. He is. Okay, that's fair. But even so, you have Perks right now who's not performing, and then with a good jungler, and then in top lane you have Fudge. Like, what is that team gonna do without Blabber being the driving force behind? Like, they both. I think Dardoch and Blabber both started this split super strong. Like, they both had really great records. In the middle, more so Dardoch, and then Blabber weakened toward the end. But Dardoch also kind of weakened off toward the end. Like, Dignitas was starting to falter a bit, especially that last week. And it looks like in the games that they lose, Dardoch is also just getting muted. Like, there's a game he goes like 0-3-0 on Jungle Mundo, and that's basically the same as Blabber's worst games. Like, you're just doing nothing. I think Blabber had a more impressive beginning. I do think his ending was weak, but I don't think that you could give it to Santorin because Santorin had a better second half, but a pretty bad first half.
I agree. I don't think
bad enough to outweigh it.
Yeah.
And for Dardoch, I don't know. It's really hard because I honestly think that Neo and Afro is a better bot lane than Sven Vulcan. So to me, it's like they have that strength there on their team. They have another pillar, and Sligo and Fake God, like Fake God's better than Fudge. Like, they have enough pillars that I believe that Dig is doing well because of Dardoch, yes, but Blabber is literally the life of C9. If he does bad, the game just ends.
Yeah, I think I agree.
But I feel like that is kind of just the meta, though. I feel like if your jungler's like really far behind, you're kind of just in the gutter anyways. I don't know. I feel like this can go either way, though. I don't think
I mean,
it's a close one.
It's a close one. I will say, I think, Blabber, I feel like what Kevin said, they had similar trajectories this season. But man, when Blabber was on, god dang was he on. I mean, you're talking about, he was popping off. And so I don't want to forget that and kind of, miss that part of his, even though he hasn't looked stellar lately, that is still part of the split. And so for that reason, I still have to give it to Blabber because I do agree Dardoch was great, but that's just my reasoning for picking Blabber over Dardoch. So, all right.
I'm curious what the big vote would be for the experts.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Mitchell?
Yeah. I think just interesting notes because jungle is such a contentious position. It's very important. Is people like Spica are missing. People like Closer are missing. Right. Last year we go back. These two were actually Blabber, Spica, Closer, Santorin. These guys were in the conversation. Now we're not really talking about Spica or Closer at all, and we're saying verbally Santorin is not it because of this and that. So. Interesting to
Yeah,
see how the tides have turned.
I think Santorin's been great, but like when we talk about like the impact on the team, obviously in Team Liquid, it's Alfari all day. He's been like the catalyst for that
And
team.
Core JJ.
And
Yep.
Core JJ.
I think Core.
Yeah,
Core is
and
huge for him.
Santorin is, like I said, he's great. His numbers actually look really good, but for I think all the reasons we mentioned,
It's hard for him to shine when his team is so stacked, right?
Yes,
Like
yeah.
Santorin is a
Yes.
great player, and if he was on a worse team, we might be considering like
Sure.
Darduck, right? If Santorin was on Dignitas right now, he'd probably be the best player on their team.
Yeah.
But his team's so stacked, hard to really say how much he's doing.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to mid lane. So it's split again. Me and Kevin both picked Power of Evil, and Mitchell and Alistair both said Palafox.
Yo, me and Alistair on the same wavelength.
I don't understand.
Yes.
Maybe I missed something, but Palafox?
All the mid laners seem so mediocre to me. I'm just gonna be out there and say it. PoE has looked a lot better in these last 2 weeks, but he looked so garbage at the beginning of the split. Actually garbage.
Yeah.
So did Perks. So did Demonte. Like, what other mid laner is there, man? I thought Palafox, he is a rookie, so maybe I'm giving a bit too much attention for being NA rookie talent, but he has such crazy performances in the games, man. Like this weekend, previous weekends, he's had some actual true 1v9 situations where he comes out on top. I haven't seen a single mid laner come even close to that.
I will say he's had
agree.
good highlights. Yes. Go ahead, Alistair. I'll let you finish.
I don't know. My thing with Palafox is if if basically what Mitchell said, like if you're looking for a mid laner to 1v9 and you're looking for 1v9 like instances from mid lane, this split, it's Palafox. I can't remember which game it was, but you look. He was playing Silas. Do you guys remember? What game
Yeah,
it was?
against TSM. Good
Was
lord.
it was against TSM.
Yeah, when he
Palafox
man-moded it.
1v9. Palafox won that game for them.
I know.
Yeah.
But also
Like-
TSM gave him that freaking
Yeah.
freebie, man. Come on. That was totally trolled
Yeah,
by
but he
TSM.
still played it so well.
Yeah, he
he played
did.
so many
Insane.
situations so well.
Yeah.
And I just don't really see any other mid laner that's playing as well as him, like
I
in
mean,
these situations where they're set up to carry.
I'll give you that. If you talk about most memorable moments, he definitely has had quite a bit, that'll stick out in your head. I guess for me, I'm looking at more consistency, and I like to look at numbers and how they're performing on a consistent basis. I didn't put him as there, but even Perks was, even though he didn't look like, because, the expectations of Perks is here. Like, how Alfari is performing in top lane, we kind of expected that, if not more, from Perks in the mid lane, right? Just making that mid gap so evident. So even though we haven't seen that, he's still laning very well. He's still putting up really good numbers. Top 1, top 2 in almost every category. Same with Power of Evil. Now I think I put Power of Evil because I just feel like for his team, Power of Evil has been more of an impact than Perks has. So that's why I have him there. But why'd you put PoE, Kevin?
I mean, if you're talking about like 1v9 performances, Power Reveal is 6-0 on Azir. Every time I see that man locking Azir, I'm like, I don't really know if this
even
pick
with
is
the
any
nerfs,
good, but he doesn't lose. He doesn't lose. There are so many games where he gets great scoops. He comes in at the right timing and just carries like a bad fight. Like TSM might be looking bad in a fight, and then he comes in. The reason we're not talking about Spica is because like Spica's only had some middling performances. They're basically being like dragged across some of these games by PoE. And like Palafox I think Palafox has higher highs than PoE. I will agree with that. The issue is he's like his lows, like you just forget about him. Like there is a reason why FlyQuest is losing a lot of games. Like
Look at his team.
Yeah,
team is
I'm
garbage.
with Mitchell. He's on a his team's not very good. Like you can only really rely on Palafox and Jose Diodo. Like it's really hard to.
But doesn't that make
It's
you
really
look
hard to have
more?
really good stats if your team is really bad.
Okay, that's true. That's fair. I think that's
Like,
fair.
I mean,
That's always my issue
I've
looking
seen
at stats.
some. No, I would argue that I've seen historically there was someday there was the jungler Lyra. There are a bunch of people who have been on bottom teams and just like gotten the MVP vote or All Pro vote, there you can still look good because you have to be able to clean it out. Like Palafox has
enough,
a
but look at the meta.
0.4 KDA on a Azir over 2 games. Like this is a hyper carry control mage, and he's just feeding his butt off. His Orianna, his Syndra, his two most played characters are 0 and 4 on Syndra and 1 and 2 on Orianna. Those are his most played characters.
But you also have to admit that PoE, while he did have recently, there's a lot of these successes did look absolutely terrible at the beginning of the split. All of TSM,
he did look bad at the beginning.
So like when we're comparing it to like Someday in the past or Lyra in the past when they won MVPs, they were consistently in the entire time just the best player on their team the whole time. There's no mid laner that has had actual, genuine, consistent success no matter what team they are on. So it's like we're just comparing the worst of the who's the best of the worst right now, in my opinion. So
we're not looking for MVP. We're looking for the best in the role.
Best in the role.
Best in the role.
PoE
exactly.
is winning games against better players. Like he's winning the games against the good teams, and because he has a good team, I agree. He has a good team.
Yeah.
But I'm literally judging that is he closing out the games and winning.
Yeah.
Like Palafox can win. He can go like 25-second Medjais in the last week and like steal Baron, but then he doesn't buy QSS and dies to Mordekaiser when the game ends. And we're like, well, he tried.
It's just what you decide to compare on, right?
Yeah.
It's like, do you decide to compare, like, okay, PoE, he is more consistent play, but he has a better team. Palafox has more higher highs and worse lows, but he has a worse team. It's like, which one do you personally value more?
Value
we've
more.
decided what we've decided to value more, so that's why it's different. I think we just agree to disagree.
I think it's different. Yeah, you're right. When we're pretty much when we're saying what do you consider like valuable for All Pro, then I think that's what we're looking at. Cool.
Well, I mean, this could be our segue to AD carry here, but my example is if it wasn't for Neo, I'd have Wild Turtle #1.
Yeah, me too.
Like, he's on a bad team, but he looks so good, and that's my same argument for Palafox.
That's another thing with Wild Turtle. He's on a bad team, but his numbers are really good.
Okay.
Consistently.
So maybe Wild Turtle should be over Neo,
well,
but it just feels Neo is so...
No.
Wild Turtle should
No, it should be. No. So all you guys for ADC had Neo. I'm the only one that had something different, which I had FBI. But I'm not like overly like, oh man, no. Because, I told you my value is I'm looking at consistency, numbers. Now, Neo has had by far the highlight moments, the most memorable moments, and he's been really impactful in his team. Like, you can't deny that him and Aframo have been a top tier bot lane in a league where we, before this season started, didn't think Dignitas was going to be this good at all. So it's very impressive what he's doing. When I look at ADC, I'm thinking who is the most consistent damage dealer for their team, who is, making sure they're in the fights when they need to be, providing consistent damage, not dying a lot. And that's what I've been looking at. And so when I look at straight statistics, FBI, first of all, and they do play through him, so that's a caveat, but he's first in kill participation. He's also first in kill share percentage. He's got the third lowest death percentage considering all of his kill participation. And he's first in damage per minute and damage percentage. So he's not only not dying, he's also in all of his fights, and he's also pumping out the most damage and the most percentage damage of his team. And so that's, like I said, that's why I put him as my #1, even though, again, I would say Neo's probably been way more impactful. If I look at more consistency and more, what is my definition of an ADC All-Pro? It's this guy who can be in the fights, put the damage out, not die, be really efficient at his role, which is damaging people. So that's why I had. But, I mean, Neo I don't think needs any argument for his case. So
yeah. I mean, I always have a hard time looking specifically at stats for things like this because I think of it more as you're picking one person to be on your team to carry you. Who are you picking? FBI or are you picking Neo? Watching them both play, I'm picking Neo. That's how I tend to vote for these things.
Okay.
I do the same thing where I do an eye test. I almost completely ignore stats, honestly, and I almost and when I said Wild Turtle earlier and everyone said no, I almost wanted to just be like, but Wild Turtle looks so good, and actually his stats are quite good too. He has the highest CS per minute in the entire league for ADCs, and it's like Neo and Wild Turtle, whatever their stats may be, they look so good to me, no matter what their team is doing. I almost want to put Wild Turtle over Neo, but I think I'm gonna stick with Neo just to keep things simple.
The thing
Neo
is
looks
like
really,
Wild
really
Turtle definitely has good laning statistics, but again, like when you're putting out valuable for an ADC, like is he doing his job? Is he putting damage on teams? And
Yes.
Yeah.
not compared to FBI, not compared
Wild
to
Turtle
Neo.
has 2 pentakills.
Yeah, but I'm talking about consistently who has the most damage per minute and damage.
Well, then this is
percentage.
also just like going back to the argument of like he has a way worse team. He's had way less consistent team members too. He started off like the first couple weeks of the split without the same roster. Considering that he still looked good even back then, it's like you have to ignore statistics because they don't paint the whole picture, right? You have to look at what he did, and he's been playing really, really insane this whole time with very bad roster, very inconsistent roster, terrible organization, right? Like Neo on Dignitas, all right, I think we were a bit surprised at how well the team was going to do. That's why it's so impressive, right? But when you look at FBI, he's on 100 Thieves. He was with his synergized roster of 4 out of 5 of Golden Guardians. It's like if FBI should have been the best, Tactical should have been the best, Sven should have been the best, right? And I look at the lens of that. We're not even talking about Sven or Tactical. FBI should have been the best, but he wasn't. Neo or it's like I just have to favor less away from FBI.
So are you changing yours to Wild Turtle? Or are you going to keep it Neo?
No, I'm keeping it Neo. Neo.
Okay.
I think Neo just deserves it, but they both deserve it really closely, and it's like super close for me. But I just like Wild Turtle's a special shout out to me.
Okay, cool.
I agree.
Yeah.
He's my runner-up as well.
Yeah.
He deserves a shout out.
Okay. Did you have anything else, Kevin?
I would say real quickly, a lot of these teams, like you get a lot of CS and just like these last place teams that have a really star player. Sometimes these players, when they actually get resources, don't look good. Even like Sunday had that fallacy because when you have nothing else to play through, you're gonna put all your resources like onto your best player or the player you think will need to do the carrying. He's going to get the pentakills, but you actually might even lose some of those games you get pentakills in, which CLG did do.
Which CLG did, yes.
Yeah.
So, like, that's the thing. Like, everything is set up for you to succeed.
Yeah.
And if you're not winning games, your team is bad. So, like, I can't judge you, but, like, you're still not closing out the game. Like, I can only judge so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And he did make some missteps, but it's because his team can't, like, ADC only has so many buttons to push in those situations. So I'm like, if he had a better team, he could have outplayed, but he didn't. So he's 100% gonna die.
Yeah.
So I literally can't judge that. Wild Turtle gets like a top 3 for me, minimum. So
Yeah, for sure. I think he's definitely up there. All right, let's go to
Support.
Everyone had core JJ except for me again, which I put.
Really?
I actually think. I mean, it's really close, but I think Afro, man.
Wow.
I think Afro.
I just went to look at it. I didn't see that.
Yeah,
Afro, man.
So I put again. I'm looking at. I tried. I do think of eye tests or things that I can remember, but I also do like to look within my just highlight reel of things and think about what is the number saying, because numbers don't lie. They may not tell the whole story, but they don't lie, right? And so just looking at it, I thought it was pretty close, but there are just a few things where I think Afro excels a little bit more in, and Dignitas is one of those teams, like you said, they're not as good on paper as Team Liquid. So maybe for the same reason that you guys had Neo, I felt like Afro was there. But again, it's not like Core doesn't deserve it either. So I'm either.
I really appreciate the Afromu pick because he is one of the only 2 veterans on his team, right?
Yeah.
He's on a worse team as well. The fact that he does get high numbers and he does get stuff done does really speak to Afromu. The only thing I would be hesitant on is like in Dignitas games, it really feels like it's Darduck that's the one that makes the big plays. Where when I look at Team Liquid, it's actually Core JJ that's the one that's making the big plays. Like Core JJ is like he's initiating, he's making the shot calls, he's very clearly starting getting the go button, which is why I put Core JJ, and why I would put Vulcan second and then Afromu third for me personally. But I mean, Afromu, he does a lot of things. Like supports aren't just you're the guy who engages, right?
Yeah,
Supports do a lot of different things. So it depends on what you value, and I think that Afromu does have a lot of valuable things that aren't necessarily like I make the big play, right? And I think that's reasonable. Yeah.
Yep, I agree with your top 3 as well. I think those are all really good.
Yeah, I agree, but I don't mean this to sound toxic or anything, but I think Afromu right now is like budget Core JJ. they do everything pretty much the same way, except CoreJJ gets caught less, for example. That's
surprisingly enough, Afro had a lower death percentage than Core.
Oh.
So again,
you die more but get caught less.
Yeah,
because if you're the main
that's
initiator,
true.
you will die.
You will die
more likely than not.
Again,
And
doesn't
if
tell
you're
the whole
playmaker-
picture, like I said.
that was just the one example.
Yeah.
I
It's
took
good
off
to
the
bring
top of
up
my
though.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I would say the tiebreaker for me is actually Afro, and this might just be because his team just likes it, but he's been playing Alistar for almost half his game.
I know, yeah.
Like, he almost one-tricked as far as
He
that
did,
goes in
yeah.
LCS. And like we all know it's Afro move. Like
It's
we know
Afro
he's
move,
good at Alistar.
yeah,
Like this is what he's
Cowbell.
debuted with in support.
Yeah.
Like he's so good at it.
He is very good.
And my concern is like, or not my concern. The tiebreaker for me is like CoreJJ. He like got 2 support bans like in key games in the last week. Like he is such a force of nature there.
Yeah.
Like when Dig focused all the resources, was it Dig? I think it was Dig focused all the resources to break bot lane and kill CoreJJ's rel. He just walked out. He flashed out and completely broke the Skarner. The first Skarner into Lantern.
The
So, like,
Skarner, Thresh Lantern.
dude, like Core is just sublime. He
is on the next level.
He is on next level. But I do think Afro Vulcan should be like that second place, close to first place. Like Afro, if he got caught out less than Vulcan, if he didn't have a bad second half. The second half was, again, C9 and second halves are kind of cursed.
Okay. All right. Finally, who's you guys' MVP? So, Kevin, you had tentatively Alfari, still thinking about it. Mitchell, you had CoreJJ. I had Alfari and Alistar. You couldn't think of one.
I didn't put it on the.
Yeah. So,
I was.
Yeah. Who are you?
I will say I'm debating between Alfari and Neo.
Okay.
Neo. I like Neo. Nice.
So I just put Alfari because honestly, I've seen more top gaps with in a lane full. There's been a lot of really good top. I mean, I guess there's some decent top laners, but I feel like he just top gaps almost every game, and so that's just my MVP. That was my criteria.
That's pretty good.
That's my criteria.
That's a pretty
I'll
good
agree
argument.
with you. I'll settle on Alfari for the same reason. I feel like if you're looking for most valuable player to the team, like they're gapping everyone the most. It is Alfari.
Alfari's just a monster. Yeah.
If you're gonna draft someone first pick in the draft, who are you gonna pick, right? Like I could pick Neo, but I could also pick FBI or Wild Turtle or Lost or someone. But
see, the problem with that, you don't want to draft supports first pick of the draft.
Yeah, you don't want to draft
supports. Yeah, that's true.
So
that's fair. I would also draft Core just for the brains.
That's
just
true.
make my team not stupid. But Alfari is insane. Like he basically coming in with almost Spirixon level in terms of laning phase. Spirixon level first season. Someday level, like that kind of rare thing that you don't see often. It's just his TPs and his team fights that sometimes are godly and sometimes are terrible. So, but I still think he has one more game single-handedly than basically any other player. You could just like attribute to one like pressure point on the map. He's probably won more games for Team Liquid than other players have won for their team. Yeah, is my eye test. There could be someone statistically who's done that better, but Alfari is crazy. He's actually making some of our good and pretty good top laners. Like he made Impact look like kind of silly after he went 8-0 the day before. So
okay.
Yeah, my MVP, League Dad's giving me the angry eye, so go fast. My MVP was initially Alfari, but I decided to change it to CoreJJ just because when I watch Team Liquid games, CoreJJ is making all the decisions. It's like he's the guy. He says, "We do this, we go, we win here. Go now." So I like it. I'm a shot caller on my team. It's freaking stressful, so I respect the hell out of Core-JJ.
Yeah,
I mean, cannibalize votes from each other, honestly.
Yeah, because they definitely are both super impactful in on their team. So yeah, I don't think I have any major disagreements with that. It's just they're both really good players. So okay, let's look at finally. This is basically what Reddit had a consensus last time I checked. Here's who they voted for their team. Alfari was their top laner. Blabber was their jungler. Their mid laner was PoE. Their ADC was Sven, who none of us put Sven on there.
Oh, what a lol.
And then their support was Sword Art, who we didn't even talk about Sword Art. Like
lol.
Yeah,
I was so bad for like 4 weeks straight.
I don't know. I mean, I'm a TSM fan, and I didn't even put Sword Art there.
Sword Art gets a lot of credit for making TSM a whole different identity, but his individual play for 2/3 of the split, which is
he's got such crap mechanics sometimes. I cannot.
Sometimes.
Yeah. And then their MVP was Blabber, which I don't agree.
I
with
also cannot. I just can't.
I mean, when it comes to sample sizes this big, it eventually becomes a bit of a popularity contest.
Yeah.
Yes. And it comes a recency bias
especially
as well.
on Reddit. So.
Yep.
Also, I think with fan bases, with Liquid having a huge fan base, TSM having a huge fan base, C9 having a huge fan base, obviously their players will probably get more votes, right? Because not Neo's not even on here. Like, no mention of like Dardoch or I don't know. I just feel like there some players on lesser popular teams may not get the votes just because they don't have as many fans, maybe, or that bias.
I did check recently. Core JJ is now first. And
okay.
Seconds,
all right,
third.
Cool.
So after more votes
Makes
came
sense.
in, 400 responses.
All right, they're coming to their senses.
Now
there you
looks
go, buddy.
reasonable.
Okay, there we go. All right.
Reddit still has some logic.
Some
left.
logic left. Okay. Let's go now to predictions. So this is great because we took in your predictions. We've sifted through all of them. And what happened was we actually have a huge 6-way tie. Coming in with 11 correct predictions, we have Excellency Jake Kelton. We have Pure, Crits, Evil Sarah, DJ.
Evil Zara.
Oh, is it Zara? I'm sorry. I can't read. I'm dumb. DJ and Sue Baby. So all of those names that I just mentioned, here's what's going to happen. Because you guys all tied for first, we are going to carry over your predictions into this coming week of playoffs. And so what we're going to do is you're going to get 1 point if you correctly predict the winner of each matchup. You're going to get 1 point if you correctly predict the games. So if you predict 3-2 and it goes 3-2, you get that as a point as well. And you'll also get 2 points if you can correctly predict the series MVP for each series. So what we're going to do is just carry everyone who's tied. You are the only ones who can participate for next week, and that'll carry out. Not only that, but I'm adding on another $10 RP onto the one that's here. So the prize now will be $20. $20 RP card for this. So
oh my god,
we're making it rain.
That is
over here.
so much more. That's like 20
it,
million skins right there.
We're making
Holy
it rain.
cow,
The only
dude.
stipulation is that you must gift a Yumi skin to Alistair. That's our only stipulation.
So bad.
Shut up,
Like,
man.
That's not even me hating Yumi. That skin is just objectively bad.
All right,
You're
whatever.
playing Yubi. All right.
So
good.
congratulations to our tied winners right now. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask us in Discord. But you have to submit it when we put it out. If you don't happen to submit or forget, then I'm sorry, you are disqualified. So hopefully you guys. So I'll mention the names one more time: Jake Kelton, Pure, Crits, Evil Zara, DJ, and Sue Baby. Okay. So going to predictions. By the way, I didn't go over our last week's predictions were terrible. Except for Kevin. Actually, Alistair, we did a lot bad because there were so many upsets, right? CLG beating C9.
Hey, the fans did well. We just didn't.
Yeah, EG beating TSM. There was a lot of things that got wrong. At the end of everything, Alistair, you got 2, 3. You got 9 right. Mitchell, you got 7.
Yikes.
Kevin, you got 12. You know why you got 7? Because you predicted Dignitas.
I predicted Dignitas.
Yeah, that
for
was
every
it.
single
I got 12.
game.
Yeah.
You
Kevin, you got 12. Mainly because TL went 3-0. Well, we all predicted TL, but and I got
what?
10. Yeah.
I didn't.
So,
yeah.
But the overall standings are crazy because Kevin, you're in second now, and
Wow.
I'm still just barely in first.
Wait, I'm third place now?
I think you're gonna have to check it, but I think that's what I remember on Discord. So,
I'm
right.
1 point behind the league. That playoffs is gonna be spiked.
Okay, so I guess for playoffs we'll play by the same rules. Yeah, we'll do.
We'll play by the same
rules.
Yeah.
So 1 point for predicting the winner, 1 point for guessing the games right, and then 2 points for guessing series MVP.
By the way, you only get the game score points if you also get the match points. It is a double whammy. So if you guess, let's say TSM to go 3-2, but instead it's actually Team Liquid goes 3-2, you do not get the points for the match score.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, good. All right, so let's go on to these week's games. First up, we got TSM versus Team Liquid. I, as a TSM fan, am scared. I gotta be honest. I'm super scared. I've been telling you guys, and I've been saying this, like, I don't know why people are thinking that TL is, messing up or whatever. They've always been right there, and I feel like they're just a super strong team. What do you guys got?
So, I will go first.
Okay.
TSM does not have Bjergsen. right? They do not have that insane, no matter how bad they're in the regular season, right? They don't have that insane clutch factor that just comes out in playoffs that'll bring them to a finals, perhaps, right? Then you top that on, they don't have Doublelift, right? TSM has not won a split since they lost Doublelift. Like, in so many years. It's been so long since TSM has won without Doublelift. I'm going Team Liquid. I really do think that Team Liquid has proven that they can change their roster and still do well, right? Yes, they still lost to TSM, but they lost to both Doublelift and Bjergsen last time. Otherwise, I think Team Liquid had a really nice world showing. I think Tactical will bring it out. Please don't play Tristana and Int. Please, 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 please. Don't Int on Tristana. I am going Team Liquid 3-2.
Okay. Pretty good.
I was gonna put 3-0, but in the fact that they might lead with Tristana, there is the best part about best of five is if it doesn't work, they can switch. And Liquid has done. They had 2 off splits, so that's actually not that great. But they've been consistently making multiple rosters work with different iterations, and like they've showed a lot of potential this split just messing around. I think they're going to be terrifying in best of 5. I think it's going to be a 3-1, and I think
they won the lock-in tournament.
Yes, that they showed that prowess that they almost 3-0'd it actually, but yeah, they should win, and the only question is the number, and I think it's 3-1.
Okay, Alistair, what about you?
I agree. I'm gonna go 3-1 for TL, and I guess if we're doing MVP, I mean, I guess it would be Alfari.
Yeah, I'm going Alfari as well.
Kevin, are you going Alfari?
Yeah. I mean, it was Alfari. Yes, I forgot to say it because he's the whole split MVP as well for a reason.
Yeah, I think
it's a bit of a no-brainer.
So for me, this is tough, man, because my heart wants to say TSM, right?
If you don't say TSM here, you are not a TSM fan. I'm just gonna say that much. There's no way you don't say. They actually had a decent ending to their split.
So please say TSM.
Yeah, I'm trying to win predictions as well. So here's the thing. The teams are so polar opposite, or have been for a while in this split. Like TSM has had such an egregious early game rating, but they've had a really strong mid to late game rating. Vice versa, Team Liquid has had the strongest, one of the strongest, I think actually the strongest early game rating, but a terrible mid-late game rating. Now, recently, they've both kind of shored up those weaknesses. So, TSM's early game rating has gone up, and TL's mid to late game rating has gone up as well. But I think TL's improvements have been much bigger. And I also feel like the momentum is starting to grow with them. And all of this is with Tactical playing like crap. So I'm really scared about Team Liquid at this point. So for that reason, I have to say that Team Liquid is winning this one. But I'm saying that it will be 3-2. I don't think TSM just rolls over and dies. Like I said, I think they both shored up weaknesses on their parts. But I do think this is going to be a Team Liquid win.
Fire the league dad. He is voting against TSM. He was voting for TSM last year when they looked like absolute garbo all the time. And he said, I know I shouldn't predict TSM, but I'm going to do it anyways.
No, but
they won the split.
Yes,
they did, yeah.
But here's what happened. See, you guys always say you just look at the eye test, But what happens is I looked at the numbers and I'm like, oh, this is not looking good. So I'm going more with my head this time, and I think Team Liquid's got this. So I'm going TL 3-2, and I think my
God.
And I think actually I'm gonna say that I think my MVP is gonna be Core, not Alfari, for the series, because I think that Hooney's playing okay, but I think Core JJ is going to gap Sword Art. That's just my thinking, man. He's trying to prove he's the best import. You know what I'm saying? He's the best support import in NA. So I think
I think Alfar is going to giga gap Hooney. Like, giga gap Hooney.
I expect there to be some gap. I'm hoping it's not a giga gap, okay? I'm really just hoping to minimize that. Okay, let's go.
Hooney just is, I don't care.
He's not that bad. He's been playing
He's
okay.
bad.
He's been playing well.
Dude. He's been playing okay.
No, he's not terrible.
Last year playoff Huni on a bad EG, he was a monster. That guy was like 5-0 and shit in bad games.
Okay.
Well,
I'm a little worried about him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm hoping for the best. I don't think it'll be as gapped as you're making it out to be. But
biggest upset of the night. League Dad predicts Team Liquid over TSM.
I know.
Put it on the newspapers. Front page of Reddit.
If Liquid wins the split, we'll send you a Liquid jersey.
I'm kind
No,
of.
if TSM wins the split, you don't get to. Your TSM fanship is revoked.
Revoked. My TSM card gets revoked. Oh my gosh. I deserve that. I deserve that. Yeah, you're right. Hey, look, man, I'm trying to win predictions. All loyalty goes out the window. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to win. It's close. All right. All right. Let's move on.
Go get him.
Let's move on to C9 versus 100 Thieves. I think this one, I think will not be as close.
Yeah, I'm going C9. Potential. Do I want to say 3-0?
I'm going to go.
I'm going 3-1 C9, and I'm gonna just go series MVP Blabber.
Okay.
I'm 3-0 with Blabber.
3-0 with Blabber.
I have the matchups wrong. I have 3-0 as well. I had the matchup wrong here.
Are you blabbering it too as your MVP? Or will perks come out of
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, yes.
I was like, who else would it be?
Yeah, who else would it be?
Been playing.
I mean, it'd be Vulcan, right? I think Vulcan would be the only one.
Yeah.
Or perks could finally wake up.
Yeah. Okay, so I will say that. Look, I do think C9 is going to win. However, I think it will be closer than people will expect. Like 3-0, 3-1. I still think it's going to be 3-1 in C9's favor. But if we just look recently, like, okay, Ryama just came in. And since he's come in, even the first week, they have improved some of their weaknesses. I mentioned some of the objective control weaknesses that they've shored up. And at the same time, C9 has also been slumping. We talk about that throw versus TSM, losing to CLG, losing to Team Liquid. TSM, Team Liquid, those are tough games. But we've seen them kind of just faltering in those things. And looking at just the recent stats of the past 2 weeks, C9 and 100 Thieves have kind of been on the similar stat wise, with C9 just edging them out in a little bit of the early game. So again, I think, like you said, stats aren't everything, but I do think they've shown that, while C9 has been going down, 100 Thieves has kind of been hanging around.
C9 and 100 Thieves played. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to use your own words against you here for a second, League Dad.
All right.
All right.
Won't be the first time.
Has not been very good at avoiding ganks. What's Blabber been doing a lot recently? He's been ganking top lane. Someday can't avoid those ganks. And top lane being as strong as it is right now, especially we've seen what Fudge can do with resources.
Yeah.
Against 100 Thieves.
Yeah, but Team Liquid has a much better jungle top duo than C9 did.
But we're not talking about Team Liquid.
But when they played EG and not EG, I'm sorry. I'm getting confused. When they played 100 Thieves, they dove him, yes, a lot, but that's because Alfari and freaking Santorin are beasts. You're talking about Fudge here, so I don't think it's going to have the same kind of effect.
Fudge. I like Fudge.
I like Fudge.
I don't know.
I just don't think it's going to be. It's not Alfari.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think
you say about player is he's cool. That's a problem.
Yeah, no, he's cool. He's cool. I think Alistair. I mean, he brings up a point, right? Like Someday is just like bad right now, and like Blabber is just, dude. That man doesn't care, man. He just runs up and ganks you. He just doesn't care, dude.
Yeah.
Like, and I think Fudge, like, if they want to gank top and stuff, and that's like not even their game plan, like. Fudge can just play a CC top laner too. Like, yeah, it's gank. Like if somebody's dying to Gangplank Udyr as a Gnar, and then C9 actually drafts something that's good for ganking top lane, right?
Yeah.
And Closer's just gonna pick Olaf no matter what. I think it becomes pretty easy to abuse. So I think Alistair has a point. I also think like C9 beat 100 Thieves in the lock-in tournament 3-2 when C9 just got their roster. And 100 Thieves had the roster for a while, right? Because it's 4 out of 5 Golden Guardians.
And they're.
I think it's just gonna be C9, just like annihilating them. 3-1 is me being nice,
generous.
Yeah, I'm
that's
3-0.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have 3. Like I said, I still have 3-1. C9. I think my MVP is going to be, I mean, for same reason Kevin said, I don't think there's anybody else. It has to be Blabber.
I think it's going to be Annihilation.
I mean, I will say there is a somehow chance that Fudge gets it just because of how far behind Someday gets, but I'm still going to give it to Blabber.
If Fudge gets it, that would be so.
If Someday gets behind, it's probably because Blabber's
what
up
I'm
there.
saying.
So
Yeah, I don't think
Nah, dude, Blabber's going to bust out the Teemo and 1v1 solo kill him under turret.
Oh gosh. Okay.
All right.
Well, there's our predictions. Do you guys have anything else to say? We this was a longer than usual episode, but there was a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm really excited for playoffs. Do you guys have any last thoughts to add?
I just want to say that it has been a fun ride with you gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
We have a top 6 bracket, so we're going to be playing a handful of playoff games. We might even get to a point where we have almost as many playoff games as regular season games. That happened last year.
That's going to be fun.
So it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
I think it's important to remember all of our fallen teams and friends, right?
Yeah.
Goodbye FlyQuest, goodbye
Goodbye.
Immortals. Goodbye CLG,
CLG,
and
Golden
not so much
Guardians.
goodbye to Golden Guardians.
Eh.
We're not gonna miss you.
Oh gosh.
But a lot of North American talent had some great debut. But what you did this split mattered, right? It's gonna take into account for next year, or I mean for next split, to get to Worlds. So yeah, go North America. I think we had a pretty good showing.
Personally, I'm excited to see what CLG will do next split. I mean,
I'm excited for CLG, FlyQuest, and Immortals.
Yeah.
I'm excited for all 3 of those teams. I think they really started to bring it up. We didn't get to talk about FlyQuest, but they had some insanely close games against good teams, and I'm really excited what they can do.
Yep.
They played much better when they had no pressure on their back, right? Hopefully their coaching staff can unlock them to actually make something happen next split.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Anything else, Kevin, Alistair? You guys good? All right. Well, that is going to wrap it up for us. Thank you again to Alistair, Mitchell, Kevin for hanging out with the old man and talking some League. Again, one more time, guys, if you haven't already, join the Discord. We'd love to have you there. The watch parties are super fun. We chat it up, have a good time. You get your predictions in, get your hot takes in. So if you want to join, go to the allinpodcast.info and that'll take you right to the Discord. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at questions@theallinpodcast.gg, or you can tweet us at the All In Podcast. But until next time, guys, enjoy your climb on the Rift. Try not to be too toxic, and we'll see you all on the next episode. Peace.